Welcome to this week's episode of Spitbucket, where we're happy to have Tim Shaw with us, passionate practicing winemaker, who is taking the seat of Kenny Gargan, who's not well this week. Get well, Kenny. Hard to believe that an Adonis like you can get ill. Excellent. What are we having this week?
Well, we've got a selection of 3 Chardonnays. First one is from Chablis in France, second one's in New Zealand, and the third one's for Aussie.
Okay. That should be an interesting comparison. What should we be expecting from French Chablis?
Well, French Chablis is a very terroir-driven area in France, and it's grown on old limestone beds. Heaps of, when you're walking through the vineyards, you'll be able to kick up old fossilised oyster shells and all these old fish that have been fossilised. So that really comes through in the wine, and you're getting these really strong mineral and fresh characteristics coming through. Okay, so
that really is a point of comparison, a point of difference to the Aussie Chardonnays. And then again, to say Aussie Chardonnays is well, it's an oxymoron, because Chardonnay from Australia, from different regions, has completely different characteristics.
It does, and unfortunately Australian Chardonnay has suffered a lot in recent times from being a big flabby sort of style which is over-oaked, and has really suffered on the international market as well. And it'll be interesting to see how the Petaluma stands up to such a linear style as Chablis is. Okay, well, let's do this.
Let's try the Chablis first, I think. Thank you. How would you assess that colour? Just pale straw, isn't it?
It's almost transparent.
That's just a gorgeous nose.
Well, it's very restrained. It doesn't really come out at you. It's still trying to find its way a little bit. And you can this Chablis in particular, it's got a bit of farmyard animal to it as well, which is a sign of a bit of reduction on the nose.
It's got those little mineral aspects there.
So what you're getting is a really fine structure, great acidity, very light and fruity.
Dead set. It is. And it's got quite a length on the palate.
It does.
It just continues to build there.
It's liquid minerals, I think Chablis can be defined as, and it's got those really nice white flowers coming through.
It screams summer.
It does.
And oysters. Hot summer day and oysters.
Growing through oysters for oysters.
No, beautiful.
So, shall we move on to the best of New Zealand?
So this is from Hawke's Bay.
Hawke's Bay. Slightly deeper colour.
It is a slightly deeper colour. Certainly not as deep as what you come to expect with Chardonnay.
No, another cool climate style. Ooh.
Different. No,
that's completely different. It's very, very powerful nose, not as restrained.
Oh, it's just like slightly overripe mandarin or orange.
And there's a very strong vanilla character coming through. That's from a lot of oak usage, I'd say. How did you like that one?
I don't think the nose, well, the palate certainly didn't follow on from what was in the nose.
No, the nose promised quite a bit, didn't it?
But I feel a little bit shortchanged on the wine itself.
The wine itself...
And that's not being critical. I'm just saying that the nose was offered far more than the palate delivered.
It did. Unfortunately, I think for this wine, it's very simple on the palate. It doesn't really offer much after the first taste. But we'll see. We'll leave it for a little bit, and we'll come back to it, and maybe it'll open up a little bit with a bit of oxygen.
Wines that does need to open up, because I love Craggy. Right, so really, I think they're fantastic. But yeah, I'm not quite sure on that one at this point in time. Let's go to the Petaluma, which is, well, it's an Australian classic, isn't it?
It's an icon, an icon.
Well, not much deeper in colour.
No,
at all.
No.
Then it is a very bright, sunny day here in Sydney, isn't it? Yeah.
What do you get coming through on the nose there?
I get Petaluma.
You know,
Petaluma has a distinctive aroma.
Yeah, it's another bit of, it's a lot of oak coming through for me.
Yeah.
A lot of oak. You also get those crushed pistachios, and
it's quite simple on the nose.
Yeah,
it certainly doesn't offer much. You know, if you were to, at this point in time, if you were to say, just on nose alone, would you jump in for the Hawke's Bay, so the Craggy range, or the Petaluma? I'd go the Craggy range.
Well, it's got a lot more power on the nose. Right. A lot more power.
It just offers so much more on the nose. So let's see what the palate says.
And also on the palate, it's a different. It's got a bit more savoury characters to it, doesn't it? It's not as.
It's far more complex.
It's a lot more complex.
That's. It's got beautiful structure. I'm getting some stone fruits in there. I'm getting some peaches. I'm getting that oak aspect.
Yeah, the cut white peach.
Yeah, cut white peach. But it is. There's a class to this wine.
It comes from a strong pedigree.
Yeah,
very strong pedigree.
There's a certain class to this wine, and having had the Petaluma Chardonnay over numerous years, there's a certain consistency to this wine.
Yes.
They know exactly what they're doing, and they're producing it year in and year out. I mean, that's just a lovely wine. Let's revisit the Craggy range, and let's see whether, I know it's only been a few minutes, but let's see if it's revealing a little bit more. Doesn't quite seem as intense on the nose this time round.
No, it's not as intense on the nose, and it's coming through a little bit less concentrated.
I wouldn't pick it as Chardonnay. If I was doing a blind tasting on this, I don't think I would pick that as Chardonnay.
What would you think?
See, to me, it's far closer in style to a Chablis than it is to the Chardonnays, at least the Chardonnays that I'm used to trying. But it's an interesting wine. I mean, again, it's a summer wine. Again, it's to me, you'd have that with oysters. You'd have that with seafood.
Maybe with some richer cream-based dishes as well, because it does have a full-bodied. It's big wine, 14%.
It's a big wine, 14%, but it's also quite austere in the flavour profile.
Sure. That oak sort of treatment really cuts the last bit of the palate off. I think it suffers a little bit from that.
It's short. It's short on the aftertaste. Let's rate them.
Let's rate them.
Let's rate them.
Okay. Well,
I enjoyed the Chablis.
I think the Chablis is my favourite. That's so concentrated, and it's really 2007 was one of the years for Chablis. Everything came into harmony for them. So for me, I'm rating the Chablis first, the Petaluma second, and the Craggy range third. Yep.
I'll swap the Petaluma with the Chablis, but put Chablis number 2.
Yep.
I love to reward consistency, and I just love to see that Petaluma Chardonnay still, a very distinctive style, still producing year after year. The Chablis, I think, is just a wonderful. I will pick up some bottles of this, and specifically for summer is going to be coming on shortly, any week now. And I want that with my, that's exactly what I want with the oysters. That's what I want with the prawns. That's what I want to take with me when I go camping.
Yeah,
it's just spot on.
It is.
It's our lifestyle. Okay, well, mate, thank you so much for being with us today.
It's been my pleasure. It was a great little host of wines we've got to taste.
And I think we've got a couple more to come, so I look forward to hang around.
Okay.
That's it from this episode of Spitbucket. Remember, we spit so you don't have to. Take care.